Welcome, brothers and sisters. This is your channel, but but I wanted to talk a little bit about this whole Houston hurricane situation, man. It must be traumatic, man. It's a lot of drama going on over there. It must be traumatic for a lot of people. I hope that everybody is all right. The brothers that are over there, the real brothers, y'all know who I'm talking about. Uh, I hope the brothers are doing okay over there. But man. I put out a video a long time ago. I don't remember how long ago. I might put it in the comment section where I basically told the strong, independent black man and the strong, independent black woman that this was what was going to happen. Yesterday it actually started raining around here, and it was coming down pretty hard, and I was like, man, that stuff is coming down pretty hard. So I was like, man, I can't imagine what people might be going through out there in Houston, uh, with all that trouble. And I'm not one to gloat over, you know, over someone else's bad, misfortune, because that stuff can come back and bite you in the behind one day. So I try to be very careful about what I say and regarding these kinds of situations. But you know, it's very hard for a man to have remorse over independent people. You know, I knew this was coming because intelligence always comes. You know, intelligence always comes, and it was told to me that the you know the black race only does something when there's a gun pointed at their head. You know, if there's no gun pointed at their head, they won't do a thing. They'll talk about the problems. They'll talk about the problems because how long have we been talking about the problems? I mean, the same problems that we talking about in this day and time are the same problems that we were talking about 50 years ago. Just on YouTube, we've been talking about these problems for over 11 years, probably more. I mean, as far back as I can remember, you know, been talking about this stuff, but until that gun is put behind the black man's head and the black woman's head, like like all these random incidents, these police shootings and these Freddie Grays and these situations, these Corrine Gaines or whatever. When these situations happen, this is when black people, they get together, they yell, they scream. It's a state of emergency. See, the gun has to be, to their heads. It's not like the so-called Jewish people with the Holocaust. See, when the Jewish people, when this whole Holocaust thing happened, and this is not a place for arguments. But when that whole Holocaust happened, they made it up in their minds. They actually have a saying in the Jewish community called "never again." Never again. Never again. That is that is a meme that permeates their community. Never again. You know, and it makes me wonder when are the so-called black people going to say never again, never again, never again. You know, and we could have these arguments about the political system, white supremacy, racism, gender inequality, gynocentrism. We can have all these arguments all day long, but you know, never again. When are we gonna get to the point of never again? You know, what kind of gun is gonna have to be placed behind the black man's head or to his temple or the black woman's head or to her temple in order for them to get together and say never again? You know, black men getting shot down in the middle of the street. Never again. I mean, I never hear this. This never happens. You know, it's never a never again situation in the black community. It's just, you know, men and women get together. They get the marching. They get the, they get the, yelling and burning down their own neighborhoods and the stores in the neighborhoods and you know and then they go back home and the church the church pastors come out to calm down the niggas and the politicians come out and they give a good speech and they say, oh, the racism, and then they have some Colin Kaepernicks up there and some Jesse Williams up there, and they all come down, just calm down the niggas, calm the niggas down. And then you men and you women, y'all go back to work, business as usual, you know, business as usual, you know. And I mean, I put out the video, and I am gonna put that in the comment section. And I think it's called "How Black People Will Be Starved to Death." I think that's the name of that video. And I break down this whole situation very thoroughly because it's not hard to see that this is going to keep happening until the black man and the black woman, you know, says never again, never again, never again, never again. That means that's the only guiding principle that you need to have in your community. That's the only guiding principle that should be should help I mean the so-called black men should have. They shouldn't be talking about racism. Black people shouldn't be talking about racism. Black people shouldn't be talking about you know they have to talk about certain issues, but it's one thing to talk about the issue, then it's another thing to do something about it. Certain issues must be addressed. In fact, this black woman issue has to be addressed. It has to be addressed. It has to be addressed because there is not going to be no community until she is addressed. Okay? Because she is the one who is giving birth to children and raising them in single parent homes. With great power comes great responsibility. Okay? You cannot say I'm strong and independent and I don't need no man. This is why when crap happens like this situation in Houston, when stuff happens like this, you have no one. You have no one by your side. Your men are not being trained by men. Your men are being trained, your boys are being trained to not have respect for their fathers, which means if a man doesn't even have respect for his own father, how is he going to have respect for any other men, man in or any form of authority? Because that's what a man is supposed to be doing. A man is supposed to be teaching authority. He's supposed to be teaching respect, respect for authority. And when you don't have men around to teach that, these 18-year-old men who go out into the world without driver's licenses, without money to get their own apartment, they go out into the world with nothing, them against the world. And you wonder why they're so independent. You wonder why these men, they can't cooperate and work together because they never seen it. Because you, as women, cannot even cooperate with men and work together. So, of course, the men, the boys that you are raising in single parent homes where you're running around with these memes talking about I'm strong and independent, of course, your sons and your daughters are going to be uncooperative. You know, when are we going to get to a point where we're saying never again, never again, never again, never again, never again? You know, I mean, black men should be working together. They should be training together. Black men are supposed to be the ones saving their communities. Black men supposed to own boats and and be running police departments and taking care of their communities. So when things like this happen, black men are supposed to have strongholds and places to go, and they supposed to be prepared in situations like this. But none of this happens until you address the until you address this woman. None of that happens. Okay? Because this generation is gone. This generation is gone. They're set in their ways. So the only generation we could count on is the next one. And you already see where these kids are going. We already see where the next generation is going. They're being taught in third grade. They're being taught that there's no such thing as a gender anymore. You could just basically choose who you are. You could just basically, if you want to be a boy, you could be a boy. If you want to be a girl, you could be a girl. So this is where your race is going. You know, this is where this next generation is headed. And I don't see a strong effort of cooperativeness between black men and black women, so-called black men, so-called black women. I don't see any cooperation going on. If it's gonna be saved, it has to be saved from this generation going forward. It has to be instilled in those children. There has to be some form of shame, when it comes to being a single mother. Because we already know that 90% of single mothers end up in poverty. 90% of single mothers will be single forever. Y'all will be single forever. You know? How dumb are you? You know? I mean, don't play the lottery with your life. A lot of you are playing the lottery with your life. You're saying, "Oh, well, he don't know what he talking about because, when after these kids move out, I'm gonna find me a husband and we just gonna live happily ever after." You women love playing the lottery with your life. And what's gonna end up happening to you is you're gonna be living alone in your house with some cats, you know, if that, if you can afford it. Or you're going to be trying to attach yourself to some black man who had the sense enough to save some money, you know, or some white man or whoever. Because when desperate times calls for desperate measures, right? There's no telling what you women are going to do when you're desperate. You know, there's no telling what kind of evil that you're going to do when you're desperate or you opportunists. These women are out here making videos talking about, oh, well, the black, the Red Cross is not saving us. Red Cross is not saving us. I just don't get it. Y'all just don't get it. The black race just don't get it. You're yapping about the Red Cross not saving you, There should not be a need for other people to save you. Why are you relying heavily on this system that you know despises you, that could care less about you, but you rely heavily on it rather than cooperate with the men that are in your communities? The real men, not the boys you've been raising, not the males who are only concerned with where their next piece of ass is coming from. Because that's basically what the men. I mean, you haven't raised your men to be responsible. You haven't raised your sons to 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 think or to understand his responsibility or his role as a man. These are not men. You know, when you choose a man, when black women choose a man, it's all based on something stupid, something superficial. You know, oh, he got muscles, oh, he tall, oh, he cute. You know, he's sexy. You know, and they actually prefer men that they can dominate. They prefer men that they can dominate. So, you know, any man who, I mean, if you are a man that understands anything as a man, because let's face it, black men and black women do not have the same plight in life. They do not share the same plight. That is a false narrative. You know, when a black woman gets pregnant, she is rewarded with Section 8 child support, child care, bank loans, whatever else. She is rewarded. When you get a woman pregnant, you receive a notice to come to court. So you get paid money. And if you don't pay money, there is a gun placed to your head where if you do not pay me my money, as the black woman loves to say, you better have my money. As a lot of black women love to say this, you better have my money. You know, if you do not pay it, guess what? You're going to end up behind bars. You're going to end up behind bars. You're going to lose your job. You're going to get a criminal record. And then when you try to get another job, then then they're going to see this thing on your criminal record. You know, thank you very much. Like I said, no one can save strong and independent people. And until this woman is addressed, until this black woman and the strong, independent black male that's walking around here is addressed, you know. I mean, you Ray and Pookie's, I mean, y'all just don't understand what's about to happen to you. You black men, you do not share the same plight with black women. Stop aligning yourselves with them, okay? I mean, you can align yourself with them, but understand you must be the leader because you're going to face the most severe punishment. When a woman, I mean, look at the whole situation where these women are out here sleeping with these little kids. Now, when a woman sleeps with a little boy, you know, she goes to jail for 2 3 years or whatever. She gets out, she gets a fine, she gets probation. When you try to sleep with a kid, you're labeled the most deviant and miscreant type of individual on this planet. You know, you're below. I mean, you're below dirt. You know, you keep aligning yourselves with these women as if they're your equals and as if they're gonna receive the same exact punishment that you receive. You're always gonna be blamed. You're being blamed right now down in Houston. You're being blamed. The black man is being blamed. The mayor. Ain't he a so-called black man? Yep, he's being blamed. He's gonna take this responsibility, and everybody. And once you become the center of the blame, because someone has to take the blame. In this anytime that there's a situation where a bunch of people are dying or something weird or wild happens, guess what? Somebody got to take the blame for that. And it hardly ever seems to be a woman. Even these women are gonna jump on board and on that mayor, and they're gonna say, "Oh, the mayor, this, yeah, yeah, blame him, blame him, blame him, blame him." What about all these women? What about all these women? They're uncooperative. How do you build a community with a group of uncooperative people? You know, never again, never again, never again. This stuff is going to continue to happen. So the best thing you can do is stay away from people like this. Stay away from women who are uncooperative. Stay away from men who are uncooperative, you know, or just ignorant men who don't understand that they're going to take the bulk of of the responsibility. It's always going to be placed on his shoulders. It's always going to be placed on the man's shoulders. That responsibility, you know, at least in the eyes of the general public, they're gonna blame him. And you men keep acting as if these women are your equals. They're not receiving. They don't receive equal punishment. They're receiving rewards while you're receiving a sentence, a prison sentence. Basically, basically what child support is it's a suspended sentence, what they refer to in the court system as a suspended sentence, meaning as long as you paying me, your jail time is suspended. Long as you paying that child support. The minute and these women have no problem running down to the courthouse. You black men have been hung from trees, not black women. They weren't hanging black women from trees. I'm sorry to hear that, but I mean, go look up all the slave stories. You're gonna find very few black women getting hung from trees. Oh, and y'all want to say, oh, the black woman was raped. The black woman was raped. Y'all need to go learn your history. You need to go learn that, because that's another false narrative that these women are feeding you. That's another false narrative these women are feeding you. You were out in the sun, or your ancestors were out in the sun as black men, being picking cotton. Those were mostly men doing that, picking cotton or building this or building houses or doing. You were the ones who were doing that, not these women. When something needed to be lifted up or some form of labor needed to happen out in the sun, just baking, just melting and baking. Just why don't you just go stand out in the sun for about an hour and pick some cotton? I think every black man should be out here picking cotton so they could, I mean, at least for a day. Just spend 16 hours straight picking cotton, you know? Then you'll understand what your then you I mean you won't understand, but you'll have a semblance of what those people went through, you know? You have a semblance of that. Because most of you can't stand to be in the sun for more than 10 minutes, you know, doing anything. All the bugs, the mosquitoes, the flies, gnats, whatever. Imagine what these people had to endure. Imagine what your so-called ancestors had to endure. You know, this race, this race. I didn't mean to make this video so long, but this race is not going anywhere. This race is not moving forward, and it will not move forward until you have a cooperative woman who is willing to raise her children properly. Situations like this will continue to happen. Katrina was just the beginning. Houston, just the beginning. Just the beginning. When are we gonna say never again? when are we going to get to a point? I mean, what is going to have to happen? What kind of disaster is going to have to happen? This is what the Most High is trying to get your attention. He's trying to say, look, what am I going to have to do to get your attention? You know, these children out there dying, people out there drowning, you know, Red Cross is not picking people up. Let's not even talk about FEMA. They too busy having news conferences to do any damn thing for you. This is nothing but a replay of Katrina. Nothing but another replay, you know? And, you Ray and Pookie's, you Ray and Pookie men and women, y'all just know that y'all are gonna be rebuilding the community. That's a promise. You know? Y'all are gonna rebuild that community by the gun. Anyway, on that note, I wanna say peace. Get on the 5 steps. I mean, what I'm saying is you're gonna either build it of your own free will or you're gonna build it by the gun. But either way, it's gonna be rebuilt. You men are going to be organized. You men are going to organize yourselves whether you want to or not. You got to decide what part of the equation you want to be on. On that note, I want to say peace. Get on the 5 steps.